Welcome to this week's edition of the Owl and the Pussycats. The feedback has been terrific. Thank you very much indeed. Send the letters or thoughts in lisa.jordan@ctv.co.nz and we'll try and get through as many as we can. What tends to happen, of course, with the Pussycats, once they get onto one subject, it tends to go on a bit, but we'll try and cut through and get to your questions as well. But it's a lot of fun to do. Let's meet the panel. The first face you will know, because she is a face of CTV, is Andrea Allen. And I didn't realise Andrea bought a new Plymouth and then went to Southland. Was that second prize or what happened?
No, Mum was a Southland girl.
Oh, well.
Dad was from up Northland, and they were sort of part of that whole generation where the brown boy married the white girl.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's right. So he was this...
They married a New Plymouth?
No, they married an Invercargill.
Oh, right.
So he was from way up north and met Mum. He was working in a workshop and that's it. And so we moved down to Southland because that's where Mum was from.
Right.
So definitely...
Just chasing the bluff oysters, I suppose.
Oh, yummo.
Yeah, they're gorgeous, aren't they?
Nothing beats bluff
big
oysters,
this year,
Pete.
I've got to tell you. They're huge. They're great, yeah.
I can't have them raw, though.
Can't you?
No, I'm ashamed to the family.
Oh,
I just can't do it.
Yeah. Not a true Southlander.
No, I'm not.
In the hospitality industry, you've been in that a long, long time, haven't you?
That's where my first professional years was in hospitality with the Southern Pacific Hotel Corporation. It was then SPHC. Yep. So I worked, the Park Rules, Crown Plazas and that. So that's where my love of people really started.
But now, of course, you've got a starring role here on CTV. You become a household name, mate.
Well, it's great.
Yeah.
Canterbury Live, it's awesome. I love it because I get to spend all my day talking, which is great.
I didn't know
and meeting those beautiful people.
Didn't know you played a bass guitar.
I know. Love the guitar.
Are you a rocker?
Well, I've always loved music,
yeah.
And bass has always been something I really wanted to do, and so I went along, and thanks to Murray Wood, he inspired me, and I went along and shooted, and now I enjoy it. It's where I relax.
Well, you went from there.
Yeah.
Speaking of working in the hospitality trade, my next guest is Diane White. Fascinating career with you. From being a milk girl at the age of 2 on a milk run in Brighton, then into a hotel in Blenheim. Growing up as a young girl, how tough was life being in a hotel in those days?
Well, it was 6 o'clock closing initially, and then later, the whole swill of people rushing in, and then I was sort of out the front watching if the police were coming, letting Dad know. So the people would all run out the back doors. So we really were open till quite late anyway.
Your life moved on, though, quite dramatically, didn't it? It took you overseas. You've had a long time overseas. Working in what sort of areas, Diane?
Hospitality as well. So managed hotel in Fiji. And then I was very interested in health, learnt about creative autogenics, or how the mind worked for a large health management company in Australia. And that's where my fascination with hypnosis came.
Right.
How does the mind affect the body, and how can we be
It's
successful?
a worrying thought, the mind, isn't it? It's a worrying thought. I've got to say now, our third guest, Emma Deacon, is amazing. A girl, now, you were actually born not in Christchurch, though, were you?
I was actually born in the UK.
In the UK?
But I moved to New Zealand when I was about 2.
When you finished schooling here, drama was your love, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. So I worked in the industry here for a little while, sort of moving around a little bit. Did a show at the Court Theatre years ago, and then I moved to London,
Right, and 10 years in London?
10 years.
So it's my favourite city, I've got to tell you.
Well done.
Only because we played Monopoly as a kid, I'm sure. That was the reason.
So did I.
But you've been brought back home.
Yes,
And is it just a wee brief cameo, or could it be permanent?
It's the plan has been for a year for now. My sister's having a baby, so she's one of my best friends. So I wanted to come home and be with family, really. So yeah, exactly.
Right, let's get into Margaret from Waltham, because it is an issue. There is no two ways about it, and it certainly has stirred up a hornet's nest, hasn't it? There's no doubt about it. I think John Key has gotten out of control and is embarrassing us as a nation. What are your thoughts on the ponytail pulling incident and John Key as a Prime Minister? Let's start with a ponytail.
Well, the thing is, I've worn it just for you today, Pete, and you are more than welcome to pull mine anytime you like.
Would you object? I mean, is it a big thing?
It actually doesn't matter what his role is. It is just bizarre for a male to pull a waitress or person's ponytail. I'm even stripping it back. Yes, he is the Prime Minister. I just think it's bizarre for any male to do that in a workplace.
Guys, where are we on this?
I think in the old days, there was a lot of what would now be called sexual harassment. If you saw a cute man's bottom, I would smack it. years ago.
Really?
I used to. I wouldn't now. But because in those days I think people were more familiar, but life's moved on. And I think maybe he was just trying to be familiar or funny and taking it too far. And
have you found in your experiences, all of you, that the hospitality industry, you are open to that sort of behaviour?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite. It can be quite tactile, can't it? In small spaces and that kind of jovial nature of being with each other and having, you know.
But he was a repeat offender. I mean, it wasn't a one-off. That's what amazes me.
To give you an example, going way back to good old Invercargill, Donovan Restaurant, don't know if it exists anymore.
Yes.
Waitering there, and I was looking after like a head table. Some businessmen from the good old, was it Twizel? Not Twizel, what's it called? Help me out here, aluminium smelter.
Right.
So they were all in for dinner. And there was sexist comments being made to me, and you ignore so far. But it got so bad, I actually spilt something on my shirt, so I couldn't go back out to that table. I was so upset.
Why didn't you spill it on the guests?
I know,
Yeah,
but that's it. But I always remember that moment that I did that on purpose.
You've
I just
worked in
couldn't go out and face
casinos, Diana? Prevalent there, I assume?
Yeah.
no, a casino, there's the standard in the system has to be really quite strict. So you don't get that. It's more, as Emma was saying, when you get a hotel or restaurant where you're really busy, you're in a tight space, and the stress comes on, and sometimes it's just a way of getting through stress, as you say, you know, some little words because you're releasing that feeling.
Emma, how would you have reacted had you been the waitress in that?
Well, I think you could just, I guess for whatever reason she didn't feel she could say, don't do that. And you could just say, don't do that, but I guess it takes a lot of courage in the moment to do that. And also, here's the Prime Minister, so for whatever reason, she didn't feel like she could. I think she did speak to her employer, though, you know, but it just...
Would
it
Mrs.
seems
Key
like
not be embarrassed?
But she did, Ronan, she did say something to him about it, though. And also, remember, he's got all his
Security guys.
security around him as well, so he's, you know, he's not just on his own. So, yeah, quite intimidating.
It's quite bizarre behaviour, and it's not as though it was a one-off thing. I mean, it was... I don't think it's befitting of a Prime Minister. I don't think it's befitting of anybody, really.
No.
But
there's a good article in the Listener actually this week, quite near the front of the magazine actually, that sort of talks about this
What did they
exact
say?
issue. Well, they sort of said they liked the fact that he said, "Well, I've learnt from this." You know, that was one of the things that they've sort of mentioned, that actually he's owned up and said, "This is, I've learnt from this." I mean, whether that's PR or not, I don't know. But
seems a slow learner to me if he's a repeat offender.
Yeah, and it does seem a bit. For me, it feels a bit sensationalised as well. I mean, I don't know how.
The
maybe it could have
apology
been
with the bottles of wine,
better.
is that good enough? I mean, is that a fob off, a payoff? What is it?
I thought that was a really bizarre gesture, to be honest. I mean, a sorry could have been enough. To actually give wine and then 2 bottles of wine, I thought it was completely unnecessary.
Right, okay. He still rates in the ratings, though, doesn't he?
He does, but look what we've got. Was it Winnie's? I mean, no, but being honest with you, I mean, Andrew Little, I think he's doing some great things, and it was a very positive change for Labor. I definitely do. He's a very well spoken. I was actually watching. I know it sounds a bit sad, but I actually like watching the Parliament
So do I.
debates. I mean, I do enjoy it. And last night, you know, Andrew Little did quite well. Good old Winnie. He's there, number 3. He's number 3.
Yeah, well, that's politics, I suppose. But, hey, the office really is the Prime Minister of New Zealand at the end of the day. I think we need to show it. And it wasn't great timing that he was overseas when it broke either. When we come back, we'll deal with some more of the fan mail.
When you need to know what's happening in your region of Canterbury, join me, Chris Lynch, for CTV News First at 5, weeknights from 5, right here on your local channel, CTV.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, the fearlessness, the intensity,
runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishing as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishing, Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
Welcome back. Sunday, of course, a big day, Mother's Day. Although I tend to think every day is Mother's Day, really, but never mind. Where's a nice place to take Mother this Sunday for Mother's Day? Time's running out, and I haven't booked a thing yet. Where's a nice place to go? I hate the word nice, but where's a lovely place to go? Where's your faves?
Gosh, there's some nice places out in Government
Yours will be
Bay.
Jamie Oliver's in London, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Or any number of pubs in London.
Yeah. Diane,
well, we had a lovely dinner on the tram, and it's about $95 a head.
Right.
And I was surprised it takes you around the city, and honestly, you could have been anywhere in the world. It could have been on a tram in Vienna or anywhere. That was very nice, but I think being at home, creating your mum's favourite dish at home with her favourite flowers, or buying the food that she really loves. I think that's the most special.
What's your son's got planned for you, do you know?
Well, I'm not sure. Usually it's the partner has something to do with it, but I actually love to echo exactly what Diane said, and we've done that before. Create a menu and the actual menu items, so actually make a proper menu when she sits down, and each dish to have some influence of her name, her favourite song. It could be, you know, put that into that for the dessert or the main, and it's for her and it's been personalised. And I think that means me as a mum, I would just love that. And also I am lucky because one of my sons does love to cook, so very fortunate. So.
What's your favourite food then if he's going to cook that? What do you think it'll be?
He makes homemade tortillas.
Oh, really?
So not bought. He makes his own dough, makes it rise, and they are sensational. You cannot go and buy a
Favourite food for you, Diane?
Fish. Any type of
Doesn't
fish.
matter?
No.
Emma?
Chocolate, just chocolate. Chocolate all the time.
Yum.
Okay. You know, the loveliest Mother's Days that I remember when the kids were growing up, we actually got out of Christchurch and had a picnic just to take her away from the house, get out of everything. And it cost you nothing.
Botanical gardens would be really nice.
There's some beautiful spots.
And also, the landlady. Oi, you've just asked us, Pete. So what are you doing with the landlady on Sunday?
She's not the mother of my children, so don't know. Doesn't get discussed a lot. Well, let's move on though. Okay. Sign Language Week it is at the moment, so our crew took to the street to find out exactly, what are you doing about it? Should this be taught in schools? What's the procedure with sign language?
I think so. I think yes. I think we all have our own special individual needs, and that is a need for people who are deaf, so yes.
I don't think so.
Probably the little ones could learn it. They learn it quite quickly, don't they? They pick it up quicker than we can.
Yeah, it's an official New Zealand language, and helps people communicate, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone should know how to do it. Well, I wish I could, but I don't know.
I think it should be. Quite a lot of children don't understand it.
We all thought while that was playing, we hope the last lady on there has a wonderful Mother's Day. She just looked a mother, didn't she? Yeah, okay. Sign language. Now, Diane, you can actually help us here a little bit.
Yes. The Rising Home Community Centre does 8-week courses, 16 hours, for $57, and there's 4 levels of those. So risinghome.org.nz.
Are they popular?
I'm not sure about that, but
have we ever encountered the need for sign language?
I have sometimes in London, like when we've done shows actually, and we do signed performances, and sometimes I've wanted to be able to communicate and or add that into a piece of work actually, because it just makes it more accessible. You know, it's really important. And
I remember running into a guy who was trying desperately through the government to get the contract, because in Australia every building and every lift and everything like that actually has Braille on it. And I know we're talking the blind there, but you know, that's how important they take it in Australia. I just wonder whether it's going to be a terrible pun. I wonder if we just paid lip service to sign language. But yeah, have you needed?
Not me personally. We haven't been blessed to have someone that obviously signs in our family. Can I just point out something though? Yeah, the Vox Pops. That guy, the number 2. He needs to work on his communication, love. So maybe you can do some sign language. Because seriously,
why? Why no?
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Just had to make a little comment about that.
No, it was very definite, wasn't it?
It was deafening. How ignorant he was.
But it wasn't. You know, there wasn't any elaboration. I sort of wanted to hear.
Yeah. Anyway, but thank you for asking.
That's all right. Interesting though, if you watch in Australia, I go back to that, every time there's a political leader on, there is a sign person translating it, isn't it?
You see that a lot in the UK.
It's quite big there too.
You see signers on television a lot for major programmes, you know.
And we had them through the quake, if you remember.
Yes.
That's right, yes, we did too.
I've forgotten that guy, very cute guy. What's his name now?
Oh, Diane, really?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, forget about his signing. Those pants are great.
I joined his Facebook page. I can't remember his name now. You may not have been here at the time.
Were you the stalker he was talking about?
So have you not communicated or what?
No, just on the Facebook. He had a fan page because he was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
But years ago, my best friend's sister was deaf, and I wished then that I'd known sign language, but it wasn't so prevalent, or to be able to just go and take a course. So I'm sure if I knew how to do it,
it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yes,
totally.
I saw a performance of some friends doing something the other day. Actually,
I can tell you, I took a tour to the World Cup in '07, and one of the ladies on the tour, I knew her vaguely. And I thought, gosh, you're a very rude person, you know, every time I talked to her. And we went out and had lunch with my mate one day and just sat, and I was staring at her, and I said, you know, have you really enjoyed your trip? And she said, well, I was born deaf, did you not know that? And I said, well, she got measles in the oven, and the result was deafness. And I said, why didn't you? She said, if you look directly at me, I'm fine. But yeah, I felt sorry for her that people would just jump to the wrong conclusion about
Well,
that.
Pete, you could have said she was pregnant as well. And she wasn't.
Yeah, no, that was the other day. I don't want to bring that up again. No. OK, we'll be back after the break for the last time in this week's show.
Kids television is right here on CTV. Tune in every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. for an exciting range of fantastic kids programming. Join in with all the fun Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on CTV.
At Bowden Environmental, we specialise in all aspects of resource management, so you don't have to deal with the paperwork. With the skills and knowledge to organise any environmental work, we can guide you through the process from start to finish. From organising consents and farm environmental plans to pump and well testing, Bowden Environmental has it covered. Save time and remove the stress. See the specialist. Bowden Environmental. Computer not working? Replace or repair. DIY or get a technician. Looking for parts. Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
Come on down to Ferrymead Golf. Care for a game of paintball? How about some swings on the old driving range? Or on our par 3 9-hole golf course? Test your skills on the mini golf course or have a go at the airgun shooting range. Then relax at the Wow Cafe with one of our super succulent Wow Burgers. Whether you want to perfect your swing or are looking for a fun family day out, come down to Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21.
One day we will record the ad breaks, I promise you, because that's where the fun is. But never mind. Let's get cracking. This is from Vanessa from Rangiora, and it's probably, Andrea, you might have to take a wee lap here. I'm a mother of 2 teenagers. My son, in particular, is going through puberty, and I'm finding it really hard to deal with. He often won't talk to me, and I'm really struggling with our relationship. What would you do in this situation?
Well, I had the privilege of interviewing Sir John Curwen, and we talked about this because he's got sons as well, and I've got three boys. One's 15, 13 and 10. Boys don't talk a lot, and that's okay, apparently. When they want to know something, they'll ask.
Right.
You shouldn't railroad them and ask too many questions.
Yeah, I was thinking when I read that actually about the deal with part of the question, and maybe it's not something that needs to be dealt with, you know, it's just something that just let them be and sort of go with it rather than feel like you need to manage it in some way.
It's a phase people go through, is it?
Well, everyone goes through puberty.
Yeah.
But you sort of, it's that period where you separate away from your parents a bit before you rejoin and make that relationship, you know, that relationship changes.
The hormones are running through, my goodness, they are. If you think back,
all sorts of embarrassing
I know it's
things.
hard, Pete, but you know, think back when you were 15, love. What was it like for you? But the hormones are running rampant.
I was just busy reading books and things like that.
Porcupines, I think.
Well, part of the thing, then, of course, it was an all-boys school, so every bucker went through it at the same time, probably. So probably nobody spoke for about 2 years.
Well, they're probably all talking to each other as well. So he's not talking to his mother, but he's talking to each other.
To be fair, boys grunt. They do.
And I remember myself, they sort of smelt a bit too at that time. A bit great unwashed.
But they have so much sex ed now at school. Even the 10-year-old probably knows more than I did at his age as well. They're well versed in it. And as I said, to go maybe a little bit sidetrack, a good friend of mine, she's a nurse, and her boy, you know, she's same age as mine, and she's thinking that she should be responsible and that they will be looking potentially sexually being active. So she bought a big bag of condoms, gave it to him, and said, I think you need to start trying them out in the dark, probably as well, because you need to know how to use them.
How old's the boy?
He said nothing, took them off her and went away, and she does believe they have been played with.
Played with, not used.
Well, no, that's it. But, you know, that was a... You know, so that was cool. I thought that was really good. I personally
having not had girls, and neither of you, you've had a daughter, Diane. I was brought up in the belief that girls would be far more difficult going through puberty than guys would. Now, I've not experienced that at all because I haven't had any girls. But
and it's that same pattern of, you know, mum doesn't know. They're trying to get their independence. You know, they know best, or their friends know better than you do. And I think at one stage, you know, I just said to Angela, I do have some experience, so, you know, if you want to share anything with me, I'll just give you my opinion, but I want you to know this is your life. And
Emma, were you a rat bag going through puberty? Drama queen? Yeah.
I had mood swings, of course I did. We moved cities when I was 14, so I was a bit like shaken by that, and it was weird actually because I went to a girls' school for the first year of high school, and then I went to a co-ed school, and I was like, I just didn't know how to talk to boys. They were just this foreign sort of being. It was a bit weird, so it was a bit of a strange time. But it's a strange time for everybody, isn't it? It's sort of odd.
I've got a 6-year-old. This is how life's changed. I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter, Chloe, who is just the most beautiful girl in the world, and I tell her that. She was telling me the other day she'd just been dumped by her boyfriend.
Oh,
she's 6, for God's sake.
I remember
it happens to be Stephen Fleming's son as well. I said, well, I'll go and deal to Stephen. Don't worry about that. But yeah, dropping my Chloe. But I mean, God, the world's moved on, hasn't it?
Yes.
It has, isn't it? It's gorgeous.
How would they know what a boyfriend was at 6? I wouldn't have, you know.
They watch a lot of telly, I think.
Yeah.
And
but you see, those relationships they're going out.
They're like lunchtime relationships.
But they don't talk to each other.
Well. Yeah,
exactly. An opposite the playground, and it's all over the Dale, so that's all right.
Right, from Wendy and Pegasus, I'm interested to know your thoughts about the difference in pay and exposure, etc., for men's sport compared to women's sport. Is this fair? Then Wendy, of course, casts an opinion. I don't think so. So Wendy doesn't think it's fair. So what's the story? Should it be all even, all equal?
Well, everything should all be equal, shouldn't it? I mean, if you want to talk about the bottom line, you know, everything should be equality between men and women. We've still got a long way to go, but once men and women are both, you know, fulfilling their potential equally in society, society's a happier, more safe place. You know, politics has got equal voice, you know, business has got equal voice, then I think, you know, and sport obviously as well. I think it's across, you know, everything.
I agree totally. I mean, if a male or a female are doing the same role,
job,
Why? Why?
Well,
Should
you're
be any
heavily into
difference?
rowing, aren't you, with your kids?
Yes.
I don't believe the guys train or work any harder than
Nope.
the women rowers do.
Saw it firsthand up at Carapero.
Correct. You go to Mardi Cup. Yeah.
Had the privilege of actually looking at the elite centre, and the women and the men, they're as one. So I don't believe that one should get any more than the other.
So are we in a time warp with this thing, are we?
I think so, and I think it's the same with the arts as well, you know. So there's so much energy goes into men's sport, and there's only a certain amount of money to go around. So
and I think once, maybe it's supporting, watching women's sport as well, because the sponsors go to where the, where the advertising is, and reaching as many people as possible. So if we, exactly. So we just.
Well, I can tell you, we saw just the rudeness of the whole thing, didn't we, on last Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, exactly.
The boxing fight. I mean, the guy's not worth $200 million, surely to God. There's an English soccer player on £320,000 a week.
It's absolutely
obscene. That's obscene, isn't it?
So, but then again, it is a business.
It's a market,
and there are sponsors that want to have their name and their branding associated with a certain sport.
The only difficult one, I think, for me is tennis.
Buy it too.
If you look at Wimbledon, the men play 5 sets and the women play 3. If they want equal pay, they're probably going to play the same amount of tennis, don't they?
Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't know why. I've often asked myself why the women couldn't play 5, because I don't think they're not capable physically. I mean, to play 5 sets. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a massive tennis.
Probably, if you look at the powers behind Wimbledon, you'll probably see, the gin and tonic old dribblers. I just don't think that it's on. So, okay. Well, we did our best for you there to try and work that through. Right, we've got 1 minute. Let's get a real quick one in here if we possibly can. He says, going quickly. I'm looking forward to buying my first home. What advice would you give me? Is there anything I absolutely shouldn't do? Asked Anne of Ireland.
Don't rush in.
Yeah.
Get some professional advice. Someone to come in and have a look at it. In fact, a relative, somebody who's really old, has seen it all before, a young person who knows about the market, like a young real estate. So a cross-section of people to take a look at it before you sign anything.
And do that research yourself as well. Do more research yourself. I know that the markets do this.
And location.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't buy the best house on the worst street.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Get the
and
worst
a wee
house
bit of
on the worst street.
Exactly.
A wee bit of advice to you as well, because I'm going through this with my son at the moment. Don't try and buy your first home, which is the same as the house your parents live in, because it took us about 40 years to get a house. So, but that seems to be the way it goes, doesn't it? Lovely having you, panellist. I've thoroughly enjoyed you. liz.jordan@ctv.co.nz. Let's have your feedback. Let's have your queries. We'll deal for them same time next week.